Hello, in this video I'm going to respond to some comments left on my videos about driving anxiety. So I won't mention the people's names, but I will mention the videos they are on, and I'll link them in the description if you want to go and check them out. So the first one is on the video, panic attacks while driving on motorways. And I'll just quickly say it doesn't matter if you're in the UK, America, anywhere, highways, motorways, freeways, parkways, whatever, doesn't matter what you call them. So this comment said, great video, I've done thousands of miles on motorways over the years, but now have this issue. I'm okay for a couple of junctions, but if I know I'll be on the motorway for more than say 10 miles, I just can't do it and have to find alternative ways. I've also noticed the anxiety goes tenfold if the hard shoulder is out of use for a stretch, meaning there is no way I can stop, even to let someone else take over driving. So there is a bit more, but I'm going to pause there because this is classic of what I work with every day, all day. And people who have this always think that they're the only person in the world who's got it. And this is what I hear every day. It's just common. So again, the reason you've got this issue is nothing to do with driving. I can't say what it is. I can't predict it because that's not how my therapy works. Good hypnotherapy is about me guiding you to a place in your mind where you can find the answers. And we've got a great comment about that in a bit. I haven't rehearsed this, but I have read through 2 or 3 to see if there was enough to make a video on. So this could be anything from your past that's affecting you, and it's not something you'll be aware of. If it is something you're aware of, there'll be an element of it that you're not aware of. So for example, I recently worked with someone and he came back to a family issue, as it often does, but there was something about that family issue they'd never realised before. And this is why when people say, one of the most common questions I get, how do I fix it? And I say, take therapy. And they say, well, I don't want to take therapy. Well, you won't fix it then. Because finding this memory, this event, it's just the start. If you don't know what to do with it, well, what are you going to do? Yes, you can find it and cry, which is in another comment we'll talk about in a moment. But if you don't understand your mind, the way it works, and what makes that thing get stuck in your driving, you won't fix it. So the best advice ever is take therapy and you'll fix it. Not guaranteed, but you've got a very good chance of fixing it. So let's carry on reading this because there's a very important point here. This person says, bridges are an issue too now. Very important. It's debilitating. If there's a stretch of motorway where you can't stop, it just gives me the worst head rush ever. Well, that head rush is your anxiety coming up, which you already know, but that's caused by something in your life which isn't right. Something's not quite correct in your past. And people all say, well, what is it? That's the point of therapy, but I don't know what it is. That's the point of therapy, but I don't know what it is. That's the point of therapy, but how do I find it? Therapy. It comes down to therapy. And I'm not laughing at you if you're the person who left this comment. It's just people seem to find it really hard to understand that if you have anxiety, you do the correct therapy and you get rid of it. And if I've got loads of videos, if you want to learn more about that. So that's common. If you've got this thing about bridges, the reason I said that was important is because it does often spread the problem. So it can start on motorways, it will go to bridges, and then normally goes to main roads, and then slightly quieter roads, then it's back roads, then it's all roads, then it's so you can't even get in the car. I've had people, and I mentioned this before, people who've got in the car and they're just shaking and panicking just sitting in the car. And it can also spread to other parts of your life. Not always, but it often does. So many times you won't notice, but people who've worked with me and got a result will say, you know what, I've noticed I'm sleeping better. And people have even said to me, my friends have said, you're a different person. You're much more positive. You're more outgoing now. Because you see, driving anxiety has nothing to do with driving. It's like having an anchor tied to you that's holding you back, and it holds you back in many ways. You'll be motorways, bridges, main roads. It can go to not sleeping, which you may not even notice, because you may just think, well, I'm not, I'm maybe stressed at work or whatever. It can be many things, and you won't even notice. And when you fix it, you will really notice, because all the things reverse, and you think, hey, I'm sleeping better, I'm driving better, I'm happier. It has a huge effect on your life when you take therapy. So what people don't understand, they think, oh, I don't want to go to a bloke and just work with him to just fix my driving. We're not fixing your driving. We don't even mention driving. It's nothing to do with driving, which is why I always say avoid driving instructors doing these stupid anxiety courses, anxiety buster courses, beat your anxiety, conquer your fear. Rubbish. They haven't got a clue what they're doing. So let's move on to the next comment. This is a short one, but it's a great example of what I just said. This is on the secret to overcoming anxiety of driving. And they say, I used regressive hypnosis and learned that when I was young, my mother warned me not to play on the road because cars are deadly. I fixed that memory and the fear was replaced by excitement about driving. Brilliant. Well done. It's exactly what we said. So they had a memory come up of their mother warning them, don't play on the road, cars are dangerous. And if that was when you were a child, you may have even forgotten that, but your mind hasn't. Your subconscious mind will be running that program years and years and years later. And that's how you fix it. You go back, you find something like that. Sometimes it's not the same for everyone. Sometimes there is no memory. Sometimes there isn't an event. There are different ways it can happen. And again, when people say, how do I fix it? How long have you got? If you want to train to become a hypnotherapist properly, not in a joke way, in a 5-day course, it takes minimum 2 to 3 years to do it properly. I can't explain 2 to 3 years of training in a comment on YouTube. So let's see, what are the comments I had? Someone here was saying about, I've just got this problem, how do I fix it? I've covered that. Take therapy. If you don't want to take therapy, well, you won't fix it. So this is an important one. This is on driving anxiety mistakes, the secret to finding the cause. And they say, this man doesn't get near enough views he should have. I'd like to point out, I really don't care how many views I get. I don't do this for, I don't know what the word is, I've heard it called vanity metrics, and I've seen people, it makes me laugh. They have a little counter in the background with how many subscribers they've got on YouTube. And people say, I got my silver play button. I don't care. I don't do this to get popular and be famous. I do tell people, and here's a good tip, which I may go over in future videos. The less views you get, the more views you get. So my videos with 100, 200 views get more views than the ones with millions. Work that one out and you'll be doing very well. So anyway, he says, started bawling my eyes out when he was talking about stuff I didn't think would be any way related to my fear of driving. Was a good cry, helped me think a little better. This brings up a good point. The reason I'm not laughing at you, I'm laughing at me, because when I was a new therapist, I noticed that the people who got results were the people who cried in sessions. And one of my mistakes, much to my chagrin, and I wonder if anyone who's a real hardcore First Drive fan will know, what's the only other video on my channel with the word chagrin in it? You'd have to be a massive follower to know that. Having just said I'm not bothered about that, I wonder if anyone knows which video has got the word chagrin in, apart from this one. So much to my chagrin, I used to think that, that the way you fix people's fear was to make them cry. And I used to do all I could just to make people cry. And I learned the hard way But there are two kinds of crying at least. There is crying in despair because you're just upset and sad and you've got a problem, and crying like that won't do anything. But there is another kind of crying which is emotional release. So as you cry, it's a good crying because it's your anxiety coming out. So when you say you cried in a good way, I wonder which way that was, because you can sit down and cry in despair and go deeper and deeper into this pit of doom. That won't do anything. But there is a good kind of crying which releases emotion. And as a therapist, I can tell which way you're going. If you're going into despair, I can guide you away from that. Whereas when I was new, I used to guide people into despair, thinking, yeah, I'm helping them, and I wasn't. And I've done all this myself. When you train as a therapist, it's quite weird. If you want to see more about this, I have made videos about how to become a hypnotherapist, and I made it 3 years ago, almost 2 years and 10 months ago, and I've never released it because I thought people aren't really interested in that. But when you become a therapist, you have to pair up and get in groups and make each other cry. It's quite a strange training course you go on. Anyway, I won't get too much into that for now. So, just going to see if there's any more. This is the one I'll finish on. This is the kind, it doesn't annoy me in a bad way, but it does kind of baffle me when someone says this. People say, this is on how to overcome driving anxiety. I wish you were able to come to America. I always wonder why people say that, because I work online and I work with Americans all the time. Most of my clients are in America, so it doesn't matter if you're in America, Canada, Egypt, Australia, Brazil, Peru, Thailand, doesn't matter. I work online and I've worked with everyone. I've worked with people who don't speak much English. As long as you can understand basic English, then it's fine. I've worked with people who have different accents, different religions. It doesn't matter where you are. And people say, I wish you could come to America. Now, I appreciate that, and I have been to America 3 times, and I'd love to go back. It was a long time ago, last went. But I work online, so it doesn't matter where you are. So they say I'm struggling horribly with driving anxiety and paranoia in general. You see, paranoia in general. It's the same thing. Your driving anxiety is paranormal. Paranoia in general. It's not paranormal, it's paranoia. Paranoia. I had my first attack in the car and moving all the time while having an untreated bipolar parent and mentally violent brother. Now this is the kind of case, because I haven't read this in advance, I can't work with people who have bipolar. If it's your parent, that's fine. But that would mean there is a chance you would have it. And I'm not a doctor, I don't know about medical stuff, so don't tell this as a fact. But I'm sure from watching EastEnders, which is a popular soap opera TV show here in the UK, I'm pretty sure bipolar can be hereditary. So don't worry about that. I don't know, I might be completely wrong. But hypnosis can't be used with people with bipolar because it's what you call a contraindication. That means doing what I do, although it helps you, would actually make it worse if you got bipolar. You know how there are some like remedies, like some things might contain nuts, but if you've got an allergy to nuts, that's a contraindication. It might be a medicine that helps, but it would actually hurt you or kill you because it's got nuts in it, you're allergic to nuts. So bipolar is a contraindication of hypnosis. As are things like schizophrenia, and there's other things you have to be careful of. So you're saying I had no control over myself or my life. You felt trapped. I felt like I was about to die during panic attacks. Very common. Many people I work with have called ambulances to treat them. And the ambulance crew have said, nothing wrong with you. I've taken them to hospital. They've been on the ECG, which I think is called an E case. I think in America it's different. That's the video I keep meaning to do, the difference in language between America and England, because sometimes you can have quite amusing misunderstandings based on the language. So I'm not making funny or comment, it's just I'm thinking of these things as I talk about it. So for some reason, even as a child, I hated going on bridges. There you go. That's probably got something to do with it. Bypasses and tunnels. I was told it was agoraphobia, and it's slowly eating into my life psychologically. I've no idea what to do, but I will do anything to get past this. In many ways, I still feel caged in and stuck to the abusive and unhealthy environment I grew in. I suspect that is where my issues come from. Well, you're probably right, and there's something you just said there, which I'll be very interested in dealing with if I was in a session with someone who said that. Does anyone know what that was? What did they just say in that message? Sorry, I kind of rambled through that one. But yeah, it's quite a long message, but it's good. You said something that's really important, that gives a massive clue as to where to begin, that most people would completely miss. But if you get that, you could fix that quicker, again, depending on the things you have to check. Someone else, just a funny comment, I asked people, what do you watch my channel for? Is it like therapy or driving? And someone said, this was on a comment I left something about, I asked a poll, would you rather have love or money? I think I asked. And someone said, came for the driving, stayed for the philosophy.